everybody, it's 9:30 right now. -4, going up to a high of -1 today. The flurries have stopped, though. That's good news. Also good news that Dr. Peter Neiman is in with us this morning talking about toddler nutrition. Of course, he's a pediatrician, always on the show, giving us really valuable information as parents. But toddlers are not getting the nutrition they need. What's going on in Canada?
Well, I think, when we talk about toddlers' diet, the big thing is that they don't eat, they're picky eaters. It's, if we think of teenagers that get acne, toddlers are the ones that are just terrible, miserable eaters. And a poll actually recently done by Leger shows that 6 out of 10 moms, I'm surprised not higher, actually have tried to trick their children into eating healthier, especially fruits and vegetables.
Well, it's one of the, all of a sudden, they decide, is it like a form of control? Because all of a sudden they won't eat the thing that they've been eating for 2 years.
Exactly. They just, it's like teenagers. They have a mind of their own. And once they have a mind of their own and they become picky eaters, it becomes a battle between the mum and the toddler. And so we know that mums are very concerned about getting nutrition into their kids, and they need information. So where do? They go to a doctor, they go to websites. I'll give a good website in a minute or so. But they also go to Canada's Food Guide. And here's another gap. Canada's Food Guide does not give any information about kids under the age 2. So what we know for sure is that parents also sometimes don't understand everything there is to understand about nutrition. Here's an example. A survey done recently showed that 50%, half of the moms thought that milk contains iron, when in fact it doesn't.
Okay,
and so that's a
calcium.
problem. That's a problem because they give the child milk, thinking they're also giving the child iron. And iron is so important for the brain development, for the neurological development, for things like attention, for the immune system. So my theory is that a number of kids out there that come down with infections because the immune system is not functioning the way it should, simply because their iron levels is not where it should be.
I had no idea that iron affects your immune system.
It sure does.
Is that in adults too?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a very important part of our body, this mineral iron. And so if mums then don't give the child enough iron in the form of maybe a supplement or naturally, of course, naturally is the ideal thing. Over time, this may cause what I call an insufficiency. Not a deficiency, but an insufficiency.
Okay, and what happens if you have an insufficiency of iron as a toddler?
It may affect your brain growth, and that's why it's so important to make sure that you try what you can do. Go to a website such as, for example, www.infogrow.ca, which has great recipes. It's just a website that gives good information, infogrow.ca, not .com.
Is that Infogrow? Is this what you've got here?
Actually,
Infogrow?
we have this is how you spell it, Infogrow.
Oh, okay.
And what people ask me, well, what is it? When should I use it? Just one serving a day, and the idea just one, because we don't want to cause obesity, right?
Is it like a milk or is it a formula?
It's like a liquid, ready to go, convenient. Gives you 23 vitamins. That's kind of neat. 23 vitamins. Gives you iron. Gives you calcium, and it gives you the omega-3s. We've talked about these omegas before, how good it is for the brain, how good it is for the immune system, and there's data to show good for the blood pressure too later in life. So, kids, they don't eat fish too. We talked about that. A number of reasons. We said that one reason is Nemo. Kids don't want to eat fish. Toddlers especially because of Nemo.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt Nemo.
And here's a great opportunity to get some omega-3s into a child through a convenient liquid form.
Okay, so if we want to do it naturally, though, what are some of the iron-rich foods that we could feed our kids?
Meat, of course, but people sometimes they're vegetarians, and so you're looking at beans and green leafy vegetables. That would give you a good source of iron too.
Okay, so outside of iron, what are the other nutrients that we need our kids to have?
Well, I think a good source of protein, a good source of the vitamins too, because the vitamins that people recommend, some of the multivitamins are limited and it's small amounts. We want to make sure they get the right amount of vitamins, and then of course calcium is important too, because we want to have good strong bones. But I would say that the most important thing really with a picky eater, and this is the most important message that I can leave, is don't lose patience. Be consistent, and if there are tricks or tools to make it more convenient to take away the frustration from the parents by making a small change, not a big change, go for those tricks. Don't feel guilty. Many moms out there feel so guilty when their child doesn't eat,
Right. Oh, yeah.
They feel like failures. They go to the store, they buy the produce, they prepare it, they come home, and the child throws it on the floor, and the poor mom feels so guilty.
And you do everything, right? Like you make the sandwiches and faces and get all creative. They don't care.
Or you grate some vegetables into tomato sauce, try to hide it. Or you buy a book called The Sneaky Chef, which is a great book too.
I actually tried from Deceptively Delicious.
Yes.
I made a brownie recipe that had spinach in it. It was not an overwhelming success over here.
Really?
I brought it to the station.
Yeah, it didn't work?
But my kids ate it because it was chocolate. They didn't care.
Well, you're one of those 6 and 10 moms that trick their child into eating, you know. So
I don't feel guilty about it either.
We've all been there. The 4 kids that I have at home, they have given us a hard time too. And so that's why I'm really excited that we have solutions now. You know, there's help for parents. That's the key thing.
So now, is this the way that you would go for the iron and other, like as a supplement, or would you go with pills or what?
You know, the way I would look at this is maybe I wish I could draw a picture, and the picture would look like this if I could. Pretend you want to go from this side of a cliff to the other side, and there's a bridge, and the bridge is good nutrition. Many parents, and that's the message I'm trying to get out here, many parents do a good job, but there's always a little bit of a gap, and so we can fill the gap. So I would look at this as an opportunity to fill the gap. To give a little bit of extra insurance only once a day that gives them all the nutrients they can have. And you know, then you don't have to worry too much, but it takes the worry out of the whole story. It's just convenient.
Yeah, well, and that's so important, taking the worry out, and then it just, everybody's...
Very much so. And you know, we're parents, both of us, and then we're so busy, you know, and you get distracted, right? So there are days when something that's convenient is going to be attractive.
Okay, there's, of course, you can always go to Dr. Neiman's website, healthykids.ca, healthykids.ca, or there was Enfagrow.ca.
It's called Enfagrow.ca, Enfagrow.ca. And the one reason why this site is so good, I love it, I use it all the time, is parents find their recipes there, and it tells you how much you're getting in terms of protein, calcium. So if you think your toddler is a picky toddler, a picky eater, maybe not getting enough nutrients, go to the site. You'll get a lot of information whether you're close or whether you're not close.
And find out. Okay, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Some great suggestions from Dr. Peter Neiman. We're going to get woken up once again, a little shot of adrenaline in the morning with Chris Demeter now.
This is Chris promises this is a gentle one, Tara McCool.
This is a lullaby.
If you want to see Chris Demeter as part of the Untapped series, or I should say as part of the Junos coming up, you're going to be playing the Juno Showcase, and it's happening April the 5th.